Hi, everyone. Dr. Tim here with Hillary for another session of Dr. Tim's Aquatics podcast. How you doing, Hillary?
I am doing good.
Now we were at Super Zoo last weekend, heading to Macna in a couple of days. At Super Zoo, we introduced a lot of new products that we're going to be showing at Macna with our sister brand ASF.
Yes, I'm super excited. We got to do a live stream while we were at Super Zoo with you and Toma, and it was fabulous. It was just so much fun, but it was really cool to talk about all of the new products. So I think we're going to go over and talk about all of the new products that you can expect to see, I think, later this year, and maybe some of them you'll be able to see at Macna and potentially at Reefapalooza Dallas.
Yep. You'll be able to see them, and some we have in stock. Others have shipped from the factory in Italy. These products, almost all of them, are designed and made in Italy. Not designed in Italy and made somewhere else, but designed in Italy and made at the factory in Italy.
You have videos. You've actually gotten to go to where they're being made, and you've gotten to see them being made.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
And I apologize that Tomas not here in his French accent, which everybody seemed to like on the live feed. You're just going to get good old native California-born Dr. Tim. You don't want to hear my French accent. So, anyways. So, as I mentioned, ASF is owned by Aquarium Systems France, and they also own Reptile Systems, and we've partnered with them for a couple of years now. We started this right before COVID hit, and of course that shut down everything. And so the launch of these products has been delayed a couple of years, but they are here now. Maybe we can post some of the videos later on. But what we are doing is we are making for the U.S. market first 5 different models of DC pump. So this is the NJ DC pump. It comes in 570, 1200, 1600, 2400, and 3200 gallons per hour rating. So there's 5 models. And because it's DC, that means that you can control the flow. So the 3200, that's the maximum it can do, but you can slow it down with the controller, and the controller has 12 set points on it. So you can really dial in the flow that you want. You do want to be careful. You don't want to overpower your system by saying, I'll get the big pump and then put it on a small system. And we'll have rating guides for all these, but you've got maximum flexibility. The big difference is that most DC pumps are 2-pole. So they make noise, and quietness is the hallmark. That's what everybody wants and complains about with pumps, is that they make a lot of noise. Well, our technology is such that these pumps have 6 poles, and that means you get a smoother rotation of the magnetic impeller inside, or the magnet that controls the impeller inside the pump. And so it's much, much quieter. Also, on the controller, there's another button, and it's a feed timer. So what you can do is press that button, and the pump is going to stop for 5 minutes. It's preset. It's 5 minutes for feeding. So that way you can stop the water flow, which then doesn't take all the food over the overflow or out the drain, giving the fish and the corals and organisms time to eat. If you want to start the pump up sooner, you just press the button again, and it knows what the last setting was. So it'll go right back to the setting that you had it, or don't do anything. 5 minutes, it switches back on to that setting.
Okay, now just gonna throw this out there. If you are listening to this and you are new to the hobby, you might not be familiar with the feed buttons. So there's a couple of benefits for that, especially if you are feeding some of the slower moving fish or even some of those corals and stuff. Hitting that feed button kind of stops everything, gives that food a second to make its way down in the water column for everybody that's trying to eat it. And for corals too, especially, and this kind of plays in as well with like Wavemakers and powerheads and stuff. By pausing it, it allows them to get some of that food and start to eat it before it kind of gets pushed along in the water column. So that's the importance of having that button.
Right. It doesn't get, the food doesn't just get washed over, the overflow or in through the uptake systems and then gets trapped in your sump filter, and you're basically wasted the food and you're polluting your tank.
And making more work for yourself.
Yes. Used to be you'd shut the pump off and feed, and then if you got distracted, you would not remember to turn the pump on. Yeah. Now, and so we say DC, that's direct current. And so there's okay, I'm not an electronics person, Hillary, but there's something in most pumps are AC. Our electrical current that we get is AC. It's alternating current. And the problem with that is that if you try to slow that pump down by manipulating it or using a ball valve or something, you're just going to generate a lot of heat. With a DC pump, because it takes the AC current coming out of the wall, converts it to DC, you can slow the magnet, how should I describe this? There's a coil. If you had physics, you probably made one of these, and there's a coil, and there's you electrify the coil, the electrons go around this coil, creating a magnetic field. And when you have this impeller, it has a magnet on it, and the magnet then spins, which spins the impeller. By changing the amount of direct current that you're giving that coil, you're changing the speed at which the electrons flow, which changes the speed at which the magnet spins, which changes the speed at which the impeller turns, which means less gallons or more gallons per hour. How's that for a rabbit hole this early in the talk?
Like, do we have a visual for this?
We need a visual.
We really do.
Yeah, but that's beyond my capabilities. I don't know if there's got to be someone that can do that. But yes, we should have a little video. Yeah, a video about what's the difference between AC and DC. But it's a way to control your pump flow without generating heat, because you really don't want to restrict the outflow of an AC pump. And if you can, but you're going to generate heat, and you definitely don't want to restrict the inflow of an AC pump or any pump really, because that just messes them up. So that's the prime difference. I think I've covered everything on that. 5 models, 12 steps, feed button, a lot quieter performance. Sorry. They operate in 2 ways. They can be submersed in the sump, so you can put them underwater, or you can hard plumb them and to the outside through a bulkhead fitting, so they don't have to be in the sump. So you've got them submerged or non-submerged capabilities, and they come with standard, this progressively smaller outflow. So depending on the size tubing you have, 1 inch, 1.5, 2 inch flexible tubing, it'll fit onto the outflow. So it's very nice, looks really good, quiet. We're excited about this one.
Absolutely. Now I've got a question for you. So one issue that I typically have in my tanks, well, not so much now, but when I lived in Vegas and when we had a lot of evaporation, my water level would get low. Are there any sort of water sensors on these things that kind of slow the pump down, or will turn it down or pause it if the water level gets too low?
There's more of a heat sensor. If it will know, and it'll it's called thermal protection. So if it starts running too hot, because the water's what is used to cool these, then it'll shut itself off and wait until basically the water level's up higher and it can run cooler. But it doesn't have an alarm function on this one or a water sensor function. All right, next up is Wavemakers. And we have two right now, 280 and 530 gallons. And the great feature about these, there's a couple of them. One is the size. They are much more compact, much smaller than anything else out on the market, but just as powerful. And they look really good with the Italian design. And then secondly is the power consumption. And you saw that, Hillary. We'll have this set up at MACNA this weekend. We'll have some of the old styles running right next to the new ones, right from the factory. And we have them on these meters so you can see what the wattage is. And I think for the 280, it runs at like 1.8 watts, and the old style was 3.8 or 3.9. It's like a 50% electrical savings. Which starts to add up when you use a lot of pumps, and electricity is expensive, and why be wasteful? Plus it adds heat. So it's a very compact design, powerful, but it consumes basically a lot less electricity.
Yep. And I will say, if you can't make it to MACNA, go to our Facebook page, go to our Instagram page, because I have a video of this up there for you guys to see. We posted a video before the show started and asked what people thought was going on, and then we posted a follow-up video so you can see it in all its detail. Oh,
we owe somebody some swag, right?
Oh, you're right. We do owe somebody some swag. All right. I'm going to make a note right now.
Make a note, send us who the winner is, and we'll send them. I know those coffee cups, because they're they're truly a limited edition. I don't think we're doing those again.
They're super pop. Oh, I don't have my coffee mug today. Oh my gosh. We're recording later in the day than we usually do. Usually we record in the morning. So I always if I know it's a podcast day, I always have my podcast mug.
Okay. Well, everybody gets an excuse today. It's a holiday.
Yep.
Anyways, but send us that winner. We'll get that sent off. We will, I'll try to do a live or a live stream. We'll do something from MACNA when we get everything set up to show everybody again.
Yep. That's a good idea.
Yeah. But you can really see the difference in there. They're pretty cool. And again, those are made. They're coming over. When I say this, we should have everything. Not everything. We'll have the pumps probably October 1st. We'll make a big announcement on the site, and we'll do some contest or something, Hillary, you can come up with to give some away.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, so we'll have some samples.
And I think you mentioned this when you were talking about them, that their size, but honestly, go look at the videos or come to the show and look at them in person, because their footprint, it's incredible. They take up so little space.
And again, the internal electronics is different with these, and they are really quiet. And what's really cool, I think Tomoki went really down the rabbit hole in that one video, is the impeller design was designed by AI, just like a huge propeller on a ship or something. Most powerhead pumps for this industry, the impellers are designed almost by history and art, experience. But this one was actually computer designed, where the thickness is different as you go down the blades and the turning, and it just looks really cool. And Toma explained that really well in the live stream, which is somewhere on the internet, right, Hillary?
Yes, it's on our Instagram page. You should be able to go. It's probably within the last 2 weeks worth of posts. But if you want to find it, send me a message and I will send you a direct link to it.
Yeah.
And I tried to get some photos of the impellers, because it is really cool. it's hard to tell in the photos, but when you look at it, you can actually see what he's talking about, and it's really very impressive.
So yeah, there's a lot to go in to the design of this internally to make it quiet, to make it give us the flow rate, but also save electricity. So those are going to be very nice. And then we had, so those are the DC pumps and the Wavemakers, and next are the NJMx pumps. These are compact, basically utility pumps for anything. There's 3 models. There's the 210 gallon, 260 gallon, and then the Pro, which Hillary help me out here. I think it was 380 gallon for the Pro. And again, these are, they resemble standard, MX or MaxiJet pumps, but they're a much more modern take on it, with, of course, the internal design that we've been talking about with the multi-pole. So it's super, super quiet. AI, designed impeller so that they're powerful. And then electrical consumption is just a big savings. So quiet, saves money, and smaller. And these pumps, to move water around, to stir, to mix up salt, just kind of for anything. They're really a bulletproof and can be used in a lot of different ways throughout your reef and your sump and mixing water and things like that.
Yes. Actually, I think Thomas described it as like, this is the one pump that like everybody should have in their fish closet or their fish room. Just even if you don't need it right now, it's something that you should have. Like, I use mine on a regular basis for mixing salt, but like, what happens if, I don't know, you need to set up a temporary tank? Well, you've got something that will work.
So there's right now, coming in the next couple of months, 10 new electrical pumps. And then, well, we've got salt. ASF has been making salt for 50 plus years, 50 or so years in France. It is a mined product, so it's very pure. The factory is incredibly clean and engineered so well. It's unbelievable. And one of the key things about this salt is depending 5 or 6 maybe a couple more different chemical compounds, obviously sodium chloride and things. And they come in with different particle sizes. And what happens when you mix that up and then put it in the bag or the bucket, when that bag or bucket is shipped and all that shaking goes on, it separates. And just like the old thing, if you put, different size marbles or, in a jar and shake it, you're going to get them separated out. And this is what happens in salt. And some poor quality brands, you can see that, and when you just take off the top, what you're mixing isn't going to be to the same chemical composition when you take off the top versus the middle or the bottom. What ASF does is they pre-treat all the chemicals that come in with with a special grinder, special instrument or piece of equipment, that it grinds everything to the same size. So all the particles are uniform. Then they do the blending of the salt, so you don't get separation during shipment. So it's a very pure product, consistent size, consistently mixes up. Some people want to look at salt quality as how fast it can dissolve, but there's an issue with that. The chemicals that are hardest to dissolve are the calcium and the magnesium compared to sodium chloride. I mean, sodium chloride dissolves very quickly in water, but the calcium and magnesium compounds don't. So if the only thing you're basing quality on is how fast something mixes, dissolves to a clear, well, as a manufacturer, you could just put in less calcium and less magnesium. You're not going to hit the target that the industry standard, but it'll mix clear quickly. But that's a false quality. Our salt mixes to standard calcium and magnesium levels. Does it take a little longer? We're talking a minute or two. We're not talking like hours or anything like that. So beware of a salt, salts that claim that they're the fastest mixing to clear. You got to compare apples to apples. What salinity are they mixing to? And then what is the endpoint on the calcium and the magnesium and the rest of the chemical constituents that you're buying the salt for? But this salt is really, really high quality, and from the chemicals to the manufacturing. And you can't see, but check out the video Hillary was talking about, because we have a really cool bucket. Everybody likes the bucket, don't they, Hillary?
Oh yeah, the bucket is awesome. Like no banging your legs with a 5-gallon bucket.
So standard 5-gallon bucket is round, and you're carrying that and it hits your knee and your shin and everything like that. This bucket is for half moon shaped, I think would be it's half moon shaped. So it's flat on one side, the side that you would carry next to your leg, and then it's got the half of the oval out. It still has the right amount of salt to mix up, same volume as the rest, but it's much easier to carry, and it has a nice front panel where you can get a lot of information, and it looks pretty cool, and it stacks, and they're durable, so you'll be able to use them for lots of different things. But it's pretty cool looking, and has some utility to it too.
Yep. I gotta admit, I am really excited for this salt. We had it at Global. We talked about it, I think, for the first time, and it's exciting that it's almost here, and I really can't wait to use it.
Yeah, just some. You just can't believe how hard it is to get plastic still. So there's a little bit of supply chain that's going to be delayed a little bit. We'll have the pumps and some other things first, but the salt will be here this year. I just am not going to say October. I don't think we're going to make it for the bucket. For the bags, because we'll also have bags, 150-gallon box with 3 bags, 200-gallon with 4, and then some smaller. So we will have bagged salt, but the bucket's going to take a little bit longer. But we're working on it. So it'll come in a variety of ways depending on what your, how you like to buy your salt. And it'll be price competitive, and like I say, just definitely a higher quality salt. Now, something that we showed. Oh, let's talk. I'm going to hold that one because that you can buy now. But next, which I'm pretty excited about, are the Reef Shots.
Ooh, yes. Let's talk about those. And they're not like shots. No, not quite like that. Please don't take shots of these.
Yeah, don't. But with the calcium, magnesium, vitamins, amino acids, you get these bottles, and if you have a small system, or some of these you don't use that often, they kind of go bad, especially the biologicals, the bacteria, the amino acids, things like that. They don't last forever in that bottle. So what we've done in this is manufactured in France, like the salt. So the electricals in Italy at the ASF factory there. The salt and the Reef Shots are manufactured in France at the factory there. And these are small made vials. They're basically plastic vials. The plastic they use is made from recycled plastic. It's 100% recyclable plastic.
You guys visual. If you've ever had to take eye drops, not like the dropper bottles, but the individual ones, you kind of like tear off and you twist the top off. That's about what these things look like, just a little bit larger in size.
Yeah, there's no glass to snap or anything like that. You just twist off the little tip. And you can actually there's a silicone tip that goes on that you can then dispense the drops if you want to do drops. So I should have been prepared, but each vial is 20 mils and there's 24 shots per box, which is 480 mils, which is 16 ounces. So it's equivalent to a 16-ounce bottle, but it comes doled out in 24 aliquots. And there'll be a ink stamped on there, each vial, how much you're adding. So it'll say, for example, this contains 275 milligrams of calcium. There'll be an app, and you go in there and you put, my tank is 100 gallons, my calcium level is 350, and I want to get to 400. It'll tell you how many vials to add to get there. So it'll do the math for you. And then you don't have to mix anything, waste anything. They're very easy to use. If you have a small, nano reef in these smaller systems, you can open up the vial and you can put on the silicone tip and you can drip it in, but you've only opened up 20 mils. You haven't opened up the 480 or 16-ounce bottle.
Yes, that is so nice. I can't tell you. So most of the tanks that I've had in the recent years have been smaller tanks. So I've had bottles of products that I've had for years and they probably aren't good because they've been open for so long.
Right. And they've been opened and, it gets contaminated in your fingertips and just things in there. So they definitely do get contaminated. And for the Reef Shots, we've got calcium, strontium, magnesium, iodine, and then trace elements we call reef elements. So, coralline booster to help, boost your coralline algae growth. Vitamins. Vitamins you don't want to keep on opening and closing the bottle and things like that. So these are really nice. And then reef bacteria food. People want to feed copepods and stuff like that, which is fine. But the reality is that corals are constantly consuming bacteria because they're filtering the water, and the water's full of bacteria, except in our coral reef tanks, because we want this gin clear water. So unintentionally, we're robbing the corals of their food by using roller mats and UV and protein skimmers. They're great at removing bacteria. So this you can put a shot in there, every couple of days to get the bacteria population up, and your corals will look much, much better this way.
Yes, always a good thing.
Yeah. And like I said, they're recyclable, made of recycled plastic. So there's a lot less waste. What I didn't realize is blister packs are going to be banned in Europe in a couple of years. They're really, wow. They're really going down that path of conserve and reduce. Think some of the things we buy, and you throw all this package, you use it once and you just throw it all away. It is wasteful.
It is. Don't even get me started on that. That's one of my big pet peeves. I feel like, for people that keep miniature ocean ecosystems in their homes, you think about all the plastic, even just buying a fish, just the bags that the fish comes in. I'm not going to continue down the rabbit hole, but yes. Yeah.
Well, we are trying to make as conscious as an effort to use recycled products. Like the gels are made of recycled plastic. The gels itself are 100% natural, and they can be recycled. So we're trying, and industries are trying. It's more and more expensive, but Europe is basically mandating that, because once you get volumes, if you look at some of the soft drink companies where they're using more and more recycled plastic in their bottles, then it becomes cheaper for all of us. the amount of plastics the aquarium industry buys is probably a couple of days worth of what the soft drink industry buys realistically. we're a not even a road blimp. So, but we're working on it. We're conscious because we should be, and we can all do our part for that. So, but these are going to be quite exciting, easy to use, and we'll help you measure that out. Now, we haven't forgot, these are great products. They're also going to come in 32-ounce bottles with the cap, so you can put it on your dosing pump, on these if you want to. And then some of the more products that are used in larger quantities for bigger tanks, like calcium and magnesium, and then alkalinity pH booster, those will come as powders in probably a 1 kilo container, along with some reef elements. So it'll come in a variety of ways depending on, if you've got a 500-gallon tank, and there are more and more people, large reef tanks are very, very popular. Ripping open a bunch of these Reef Shots, we know that's going to be impractical. So we've got you covered there too.
I like it. You got you covered all across the board, no matter what size tank you have.
Right. Well, we try to make, as our tagline says, success at every level. So, we're trying to cover the beginner to the expert, this person that has the small tank to the person that has the big tank. I mean, we do deal with large public aquariums all over the world, in aquaculture and aquaponics, in big giant systems. So we get that. And those will be here in the fall too, which is right around the corner here. Yes. Then, to finish this, something we do have in stock are the Proten LEDs. Now, these come in freshwater, a marine version, and a reef blue version. So there's 3 flavors, and within each flavor, there's 6 sizes: 10-inch, 18-inch, 24-inch, 36-inch, 48-inch, and 60 inches. Now, that's the size of these are strip lamps, so they're long, skinny lamps. That's the size, but they have extendable arms at either size. So that 60-inch one can actually expand out to 72. The expandables are 6 inches or so on each side, except for the smaller one, it's like 3 inches. So, or 4 inches. So the 10-inch one can expand out to 18 inches and so forth. And so for the freshwater version, they have a combination of LEDs that are white, red, and green. So you're covering, and you can go onto website, or we'll figure out where to put this, Hillary, but we have the spectrum output for these. So you can see that we're picking LEDs that are right where you need, not only for the chlorophyll for the aquatic plants, but also for our eyes, for the white light. And they're 2-channeled, so you can have one channel on, or a second channel on, or you can have both channels on. So there. And all these are what's called IP67. Do not try this at home, please. But IP67 is an international standard about water tightness. So if you were to unfortunately knock these into the water, they're sealed and they won't leak. They won't get humidity. You can, unplug it. Just let's be safe here, practice safe aquarium techniques. But your light is not going to be ruined if it were to fall into your tank.
Yes.
We've all done it. and
this is my favorite feature about these lights. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased. I have them on my tank at home, but one of the reasons I love them, and I've said this before, is that I've got a cowfish that spits water, and I just posted a video this week, and it's like you can see the water all over the light, and you can see the cowfish just spitting water.
You sure it's not an anglerfish? It's a cowfish that wants to be an anglerfish. But
These I am.
these are very nice. There'll be a controller with Bluetooth capability so that you can set patterns and dim it and lightnings, all that kind of fun stuff. And they come with these fittings where you can retrofit. Say you have T5 or T8 lighting in a hood, or you've set it up some, how you can get these fittings. Well, they come with each light, and they clip on to the extendable arms and then go right inside the T5 or the T8 socket. So they're not powered by that. I mean, they have their own individual power supply, but they fit right in there, so you don't have to re-engineer your lighting system. So,
that's really nice. Yeah. And I want to take a step back. So you were talking about the different graphs that we have. I can post those on social media, but if you actually see these lights in the store, these are actually on the packages as well. That's one of the great things about the ASF line and the Reptile Systems line. If you get any of those lights, it has so much information on the packaging to make it easy for you to make informed decisions. It's just phenomenal.
Yep. And we'll have, we have videos, and we'll have more videos to explain this. So the freshwater, it emulates the natural sunlight. For the marine, what you have is a combination of white, red, and again, green LEDs, but we're focusing a lot in that 420, 60 nanometers. And then because, you want our eyes want white light. We just think that's what it should be. The corals, they want blue. We'll get to that in a minute. But with the marine, you've got a nice mixture of light in there so that your corals can grow and the tank still looks the color that we want for presentation, and with all the benefits of the freshwater. And then with the reef blue, this is basically almost all blue lights. And what we have in here is I'm not giving the numbers because obviously if it's a 60-inch light, there's going to be a lot more LEDs than if it's the 18 or a 10. So it's a combination of LEDs that are at 420 nanometers, because LEDs put out each LED puts out a nanometer spectrum, a wavelength, and you can't vary that. That's, if you want another wavelength, you got to have another LED. So there's a combination of 420 nanometer LEDs, 400 nanometer LEDs, and 460 nanometer LEDs. It's almost all those. I would say, what's the ratio here? Can I do this? 36 out of 39 on the small one, because there's then a couple that are at 680 and 700 nanometers. So it's basically the reef blue is blue with a little bit of, maybe red in there. And that's because blue is the wavelength, and these 420, 400 to 2400, 460 nanometer wavelength, that is the wavelength that penetrates the deepest through water. That's why when you're out scuba diving, snorkeling, as you go down, everything's kind of blue. And and that's what corals are adapted to. That's the wavelength that they get the energy from, the algae that are symbiotic with the corals to grow. So, and that was the secret way back, in the late 80s, 90s, was to growing corals, was figuring out that, we had to give that blue wavelength to them. It seems pretty easy right now, but you had to find lights for that too. But anyways, so you can put a combination of the reef blue and the marine on your tank to have a real nice effect, or, depending on what you're trying to accomplish and grow corals and things like that. But we have all the spectrum charts, They're very affordable and they're cool. They run really cool, because they're LEDs. Water resistant. I don't want to say waterproof. We do not recommend at all that you run them underwater. But those actually are available now. So you can get those at our website. And we have sold them into distributors and stores. So look for them.
Yeah, we have one other line of products that has been out. You can get these that's in the ASF family, and that's the test kits. I know we've talked about those before, but right. I just want to mention those.
Yep. We do have test kits made in Europe, and test kits for the standard pH, ammonia, nitrate, phosphate, calcium, magnesium, then total hardness and alkalinity. So wide variety of kits. Usually, instead of getting one vial of the reagent, you're going to get multiple vials. That way, again, you don't have to open up one vial, and then if it gets polluted or contaminated or something, it's ruined. So, and those are in stock now. Very precise, easy to use,
easy to read.
Yeah, easy to read. That's the main thing worked on, is making the color change noticeable. So it's, is that green? Is it yellow? What size is that? No, easy to read. Yep.
And I will say, I feel like a lot of what we've talked about is geared. It sounds like it's geared towards saltwater and marine aquariums, but a lot of this stuff is for both freshwater and saltwater, like these test kits. I'm sitting here looking at some of the packaging, and you can tell on the packaging if you look at it. I believe it's in the upper right hand corner. It'll tell you if it's for freshwater or saltwater. If you have both tanks, you can use it for both.
Right. There's a little circle icon, and it'll have a blue fish. It's in the fish is it
it might be
it's a stylistic fish.
Yeah.
And the blue is for oh no, I'm wrong. The blue seahorse, that's easy to see. The blue seahorse is saltwater. Sorry. And then the purple is freshwater, and it's just a stylized fish, but it has a little icon there, and it says freshwater, saltwater too. So
yep, exactly.
Yeah. And in the pumps, obviously, freshwater and saltwater marine. People generally, for additives, you don't generally need, but you do for alkalinity. If you've, because we had some people, you were seeing maybe the emails, and they were wondering why their, alkalinity was being consumed and what they could do about it in a freshwater tank. But if you live now up where you are, Hillary, or in Florida or some other places that have soft water with low alkalinity, when you're cycling your tank and just the natural nitrification process, your alkalinity is being consumed, then your pH drops. And that's what you need to counteract by adding some of these pH adjusters and the calcium and stuff like that. So a lot of this stuff can cross over from freshwater to reef and back and forth. It's not just salt water.
Nope, not at all.
No. Okay, I think we covered all the new stuff. There's videos. We are going to be this weekend at MACNA, and then in a couple of weeks, Reefapalooza.
And Aquashella too?
Every place.
All the places.
All the places. Yes. Now we like seeing people. So please come out.
Yep.
I will not be at, I don't want to say where I'm going to be. I can't remember. I'm going to be at MACNA.
You'll be at MACNA.
I'm going to be at Reefapalooza in Texas. Aquashella is something else is going on that weekend, so I don't think I'll be at Aquashella. I think that's in Chicago. Yeah. So,
Reefapalooza and Aquashella are the same weekend.
That's the reason I'm not. Yeah, I can't be at both. We can do a hologram of me. That would scare everybody. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, everybody. But
And if you have any questions about any of these products, as always, send us a message on social media, send us an email, info at Dr. Tim's Aquatics. We're more than happy to send you direct links for stuff or give you more detailed information if that's what you're looking for.
and we are driving our webmaster crazy because we're telling her she has to get all this stuff up yesterday, but we just gave it to her. So she's good, but she can't work magic. But it'll be up there, all the new stuff and the information, because there's a lot of information and things like that. So we are working to get all that up for you. Hillary did, like I said, she's got some things on Instagram, and also about our sister brand Reptile Systems with Dale and his English accent. So
Oh, yeah. If you're a reptile person, I know some of you that listened to one of our previous podcasts said that you were. Go follow our page at my_reptile systems on Instagram. Tons of great content. The original Reptile Systems also has tons of great content as well. So,
yeah. So, all right, everyone. Thanks very much for listening. And please come out and see us at one of the shows. So this has been Dr. Tim and Hillary and the Dr. Tim's Aquatics podcast. Till next time.